Hey everybody, I'm Bobby Tonelli with Tech360.tv, and today I'm going to tell you 5 reasons why I would buy the 2018 iPad. First reason why I would get this iPad is because you can now use it with the Apple Pencil. That's right, this is the first basic iPad you can use with this. And Apple's been working on a lot of software to use the pencil within the iPad, so you don't need an iPad Pro anymore. This works just as well. Second is the great performance. Now, Apple for 2018 has put in the A10 processor inside of the basic iPad. I'm calling it the basic iPad because, well, it's not really basic, but you know what I'm talking about. It's not as fast as the iPad Pro, but for day-to-day usage, you're not going to notice much of a difference in terms of performance. Also, the battery life on this thing is impressive. Now, Apple's quoting 10 hours of usage, but most of the people, including myself, are getting around 11 to 12 hours. So kudos to Apple for actually being conservative on their specs, but actually delivering a lot more. Another reason is education. Now, Apple is really touting education on the 2018 iPad, and rightfully so. I mean, this is an iPad that comes in at a much lower price point, has a fantastic processor, and it's gonna last you a couple of years at least before you have to get another one. And now the inclusion of the Apple Pencil. However, in terms of education space, yes, there's an educational discount on the iPad and on the iPad Pencil, but these are pretty pricey. It would have been nice if Apple did sort of a package deal where maybe you got the iPad 2018 as a student and you get the Apple Pencil maybe at a much bigger discount, or maybe even for free, just putting that out there. Or even a case that allows you to hold the Apple Pencil, because this is the thing about this pencil. It works great, but the thing a lot of customers complain about is they lose it because there's no way to attach it to the iPad. Apple, something to think about. Now, we can't talk about the iPad 2018 without talking about price, because price is a big deal when it comes to this iPad. It's coming in half the price of the entry-level iPad Pro, okay? In Singapore, that's $498 for the 32GB version of this 2018 iPad. That's the lowest price point Apple's put on an iPad to date. We got a lot of motorcycles in Singapore, I tell you that right now. So just let it keep going. I'm gonna keep talking over the motorcycles, okay? So anyway, but here's the thing, 32GB, Apple. Who uses 32GB anymore? I haven't seen that even in lower-end smartphones. I would have said that Apple could have at least introduced this with 64GB, at least, at the same price point. Because we know memory is not that expensive anymore. So that's my only gripe on the price point, but otherwise, this is a really good price for an iPad. So what are we missing on the iPad 2018 that you're getting on the iPad Pro? Well, it's not a lot actually. There's just a few things. First off, display. The display is the 9.7-inch display that we're used to getting on the other iPads, but not on the iPad Pro, which is now 10.5 inches. The resolution is slightly less, but unless you put it next to an iPad Pro, you're not gonna notice much of the difference, but there is a difference to it. This is smaller, good or bad, it's slightly smaller in terms of its footprint, and that's pretty much it. Oh, I have to say, the back of this. On the iPad Pro, this is all one color, minus the line, but on the iPad 2018, it's that black. So it looks like the older version of the iPads out there. And speakers. If you like watching movies, the sound quality is good on this, but you're not gonna get that stereo surround speakers that you get on the iPad Pro, so that's another caveat to it. And also the smart connectors. So if you do have that Apple keyboard cover, you can't use it for this, you have to get a third-party version of that. But otherwise, I would say for 80% of the audience out there that wants an iPad for day-to-day usage, this will be the iPad you go to. Overall, I have to say though, the iPad has the best ecosystem out of any tablet on the market. I mean, Apple has done a tremendous job cultivating apps, really working with schools and children to really boost up the educational front of the iPad as well. And I have to say, this is at a price point. Apple is now, they've been focusing on the Pro segment for the last couple of years. They really brought it back to what the iPad was about. Teaching, educating, enhancing someone's learning ability, and giving all that information on this. It's truly a very special device. Having said that though, I do have a couple issues with the iPad 2018 that I did mention before. First off, storage. I believe that 32GB is really too low of storage, and Apple shouldn't even be offering it. 64GB should be the entry level for storage here in the year of 2018. Also, the Apple Pencil. I mean, this is a great educational tool. Really is gonna help a lot of students, but it's expensive. Apple could offer a very good package price with the iPad 2018 for students, and maybe a case so you don't lose the pencil when you carry around the iPad, because that's the thing people do the most with this, is they lose it. Overall though, if Apple calls this the basic iPad, they've redefined the word basic. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the 2018 iPad. Any comments or suggestions you have on this review, leave them in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook. Until the next one, take care.